Hey everyone, I thought I'd do a video on some of the stations you can try to listen to using your shortwave. And the first one I've chosen is the infamous Voice of Korea. And I say infamous mainly because Voice of Korea harkens back to what we used to listen to in shortwave 40, 50 years ago with stations like Radio Moscow, which would be propaganda stations mainly to defame the West or to embolden their own culture. And I thought it would be great to start with Voice of Korea because it broadcasts on multiple bands at multiple times of the day in various languages. And anywhere in the world, depending on the frequency and the language of choice, you can typically hear Voice of Korea. Their transmitters are located about 60 to 70 miles north of Pyongyang in North Korea. And they transmit about 22 hours a day, so you get pretty good coverage. And they transmit at about 200 kilowatts, so depending on where you are, you have a pretty good chance of hearing them depending on the frequency, time of day, if you're in the northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere, or if it's summer or winter. You can see the example here of what the propagation path would look like in the winter time in the late afternoon. So it gives you a really good opportunity with any kind of shortwave to try to receive this station. Now the best part is they broadcast on 6 different bands, the 49, 41, 31, 25, 22, and 19 meter bands. So this gives you, again, a broad frequency range for any time of day. For example, 31 up through 19 meters, middle of the day, that's a perfect time to try to listen to them. In the evening, 49 and 41 and even 31 would be great bands to also try to listen to them depending on where you are. So the first thing you need to do is go out to the website called shortwave.info and find the schedule of transmissions on what frequencies and what languages. You'll want to find your language of choice and the right frequency for the time of day you're in. Now there are a few things you can do right away to determine if you're listening to VOK. The best way is at the top of each hour, VOK plays a specific musical tone for about 30 seconds that gives you a chance to even switch frequencies to see if you have received it. And this tone is the same for all languages. So let's listen to an example of that. So again, this happens at the top of each hour that they're broadcasting. And you can use the schedule to determine which frequencies you may be able to jump between to see if you can receive it. Now, many times the propagation conditions may be poor and you just won't be able to receive it, depending on where you are. And that's just going to be a day-to-day thing. I'll play a bit more of the audio so you can see how this progresses.
This is Voice of Korea.
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 As you can see, it does give you some time to at least try to jump around on those bands. So what kind of shortwave and antenna do you need to receive this? Actually, most any shortwave should work, from even the low-cost shortwaves all the way up to high-end shortwaves. Obviously, a larger antenna will help you, and the quality of the receiver obviously will help as well. And any kind of receiver that has a digital display will make it easier to jump around between the different frequencies. But if you have an analog display, it still could be a challenge. You know, it's a kind of an interesting challenge to see if you can receive it on a small analog receiver. Well, that's all I have for an introduction. The rest of this video is just going to have clips of Voice of Korea, and you're welcome to listen to some of these if you want to. I think it's kind of interesting just to hear how they report the news and the format of the overall program. So I hope you enjoyed that. Again, I'm still working on my other videos of scanning the bands, and I hope you're enjoying those as well. Please feel free to take a look at that, and please subscribe. It helps the channel, and I really appreciate all the listeners out there. So take care, enjoy Shortwave, and enjoy the rest of this. I'll add some more comments to the rest of these audio clips so you just have more understanding of what Voice of Korea sounds like. I won't do full clips in the full 45 to 50 minutes of the program, but I'll take certain sections and just add some audio comment about them. First up is the North Korean national anthem, and I believe some other anthems for Kim Jong-il and Kim Jong-un.
Dear listeners, now we start English language service of Voice of Korea from Pyongyang, the capital of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea.
Now we present Immortal Revolutionary Paean, Song of General Kim Il-sung. Now here is the Immortal Revolutionary Paean, Song of General Kim Jong-il.
So there they played the three anthems for Kim Jong-sung, Kim Jong-il, and Kim Jong-un as kind of their intro to the program. And then next up is part of the news, and I'll clip some of the news segments in here. They're pretty interesting if you listen to them.
You're listening to VOK, the Voice of Korea, News Now. Another important work for regional development has started, which should be specially recorded in the new year of great changes when the People's First idea of the Workers' Party of Korea is realized comprehensively. A largest-scale modern greenhouse farm and vegetable science research center will be built into creations symbolic of a vigorous and great progress of regional rejuvenation in Hadan-ri of Sinuju, the boundary gate of the country, and in the region of Sohori of Uiju County. A groundbreaking ceremony for construction of the greenhouse farm of 450 hectares and the Vegetable Science Research Center was held with splendor on February the 10th.
A spokesperson for the Ministry of National Defense of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea issued the following press statement titled, "We will make clearer our choice of action and mode of counteraction against the United States" on February the 11th. The Los Angeles-class nuclear-powered submarine Alexandria of the U.S. Navy entered the Busan Operation Base of the Republic of Korea on February the 10th under the pretext of the rest of the crew and replenishment of munitions. The first overt emergence of a U.S. nuclear submarine in the Korean Peninsula this year is a clear expression of the U.S. invariable hysteria for confrontation with the DPRK, and it is an undeniable threat to the security environment of the DPRK and an unstable factor for escalating the military tension in the region. The United States is openly ignoring the security concern of the DPRK. We express grave concern of the U.S. dangerous hostile military act that can lead to acute military confrontation in the region around the Korean Peninsula to an actual armed conflict, and strongly warn that the United States should stop provocations stirring up the instability any longer. The practical reality clearly indicates why a new step for strengthening the nuclear capability and self-defensive power clarified by our head of state recently is just, and which way we have to inevitably advance. We will not flinch even an inch from the conflicting structure of the outrageous rival state. To thoroughly contain only with corresponding strength the United States, the hegemonic entity believing blindly in domination by strength, is the answer the reality is giving and the responding principle we have already maintained. Our armed forces are strictly watching the frequent appearance of the U.S. strategic means on the Korean Peninsula and are ready for using any means to defend the security and interests of the state and the regional peace. We will make clear our choice of action and mode of counteraction against our rivals. The armed forces of the DPRK, always faithful to the constitutional duty to defend the security of the state, will do acts of deterring the factors threatening the regional security environment and unhesitatingly exercise the legitimate right to punish the provokers.
All I have to say to that is wow, and it's pretty interesting to listen to that as a U.S. citizen and how they present the tension and the conflict between the nations. Pretty interesting. Well, I'm just going to leave it at that because the rest of the program is just different music that they play that I assume is probably patriotic music and or cultural music. So I hope you enjoyed that. Take care. Keep listening to Shortwave. More videos are coming.